Katie Dickson is the Director of Horticulture at Boone Hall Plantation and Gardens, and she was kind enough to bring some really cool plants up here today.
Yes, thank you, Amanda. I love doing show and tell.
Yeah, I do too. And so I think we'll start with this one, which looks kind of like a regular bromeliad, I'm thinking.
Certainly. So I don't have the variety name on this, but it's a variegated Brazilian bromeliad, like you say. And we were talking earlier about how in nature, in their native environment, they tend to be epiphytic or air plants, and they hitch themselves onto trees, not in a...
Just to get up to the sunlight.
Just to get up to the sunlight and gather nutrients and water from the tree canopy. Yeah. So really cool adaptation there.
And so this little cup in here is generally where they collect the water that they need.
Absolutely right. It's a rain catchment system, and that rain would also carry nutrients and detritus and things. So, and nourish the plant. But of course, you know, at Boone Hall, we have a variety of these in pots, you know, and we sink them down in the ground in our conservatory for the warm season, and we're able to pop them back out of the ground and relocate them into a nice warm greenhouse for winter.
And do they, since they don't require getting too much of their water through the soil, do you have to repot them frequently?
We don't do a lot of repotting or fertilization. They're fairly low maintenance for us. So we just make sure that, you know, they're not rotting out from too much water, and just check the central cup every now and then, but they're fun. Okay,
so if you have one in house that has central heat, which of course I don't, what would you, how would you care for it? Would you put it in a brightly lit area, or what?
Yeah, great question. So we call it, you know, a bright indirect light. So if you have a nice cozy like sunroom, or just maybe a bright kitchen window, something like that.
And so you keep them in these pots because you sink these pots, but you could easily put it in a prettier pot if you wanted to keep it inside.
Certainly, in more of a decorative ceramic, you know, more high-end container. But for us, it's more of an efficiency thing.
Well, it's just lovely.
Thank you.
And so do you give it liquid fertilizer occasionally?
I don't, because I can be a lazy horticulturist sometimes, but there is, you know, a suggestion maybe every 4 to 6 weeks during the warm season, spring, summer. Some people like to do a dilute fertilizer, but I have to be honest with you, I don't do that.
Well, I don't see why you should do something you don't have to. And I guess occasionally a fly or something lands in there, and I'm sure it just dissolves, and that's, you know,
extra nourishment right there.
Yeah, okay. Really, really, really fun.
Thanks.
And it's got teeny tiny little pointed leaves, but they're not enough to bother you in any way if you bumped into it.
Exactly, right. It's not like an agave or anything perilous.
Yeah, so it'd be fine for children.
Yes.
Yeah, or kitty cats. Or
there you go.
Yeah, okay. Well, isn't that pretty reddish interior color? And then it also shows up on the leaves. This is a beautiful, beautiful bromeliad.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, this is one of the craziest looking fellas I've ever seen. He looks like my hair used to before they made hair straightener.
Well, it is definitely delightful. This is a type of bird's nest fern. A lot of people...
No, a fern.
Sure.
Like a bird's nest fern.
Absolutely. So bird's nest ferns, you can typically find more of like the straight species with the straight, you know, fronds at, you know, various garden centers or big box stores. But this is a kind of atypical variation called hurricane fern or twisted bird's nest.
Oh, he sure is twisted.
Yeah, and as it matures, this buddy is maybe 2-3 years old, and the leaves continue to whorl and get contorted.
1, 2, I mean, it's got 6 turns in it.
It's a pretty awesome texture. Got this like kind of crinkly, you know, kind of fun, like little monstrous texture. So, that's just a fun novelty if you can find it in the trade. And
then it seems to have something going, an inflorescence in the middle, or is that just the growing point, or what?
I think, again, similar to the bromeliad, it has kind of that architecture of a central cup to gather water, probably in nature, but I also typically water it that route as well.
The green is so pretty, don't you think?
It is. That really like new leaf green, I think, is so beautiful.
And that seems to persist.
Yes, it typically looks like this year round.
Looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, nice little house plant.
Crazy. Yeah. And say his name again?
So you can call it hurricane fern or twisted bird's nest.
Because it looks like it's been through a tornado. It
definitely has character for sure. And I'll tell you, Amanda, the only thing to look out for in these that I've encountered is sometimes they can get spider mites. I think some things that have really tightly compacted leaves tend to harbor.
A good place to, So how would you address that if that happened?
Yeah, so kind of trying to steer away from lots of chemicals, you know, if you have pets or kids, et cetera. I typically typically suggest just a dilute rubbing alcohol and water solution. So 1 part rubbing alcohol, 4 parts water, and spray it.
How do you get down it? Oh, spray it, because I was going to say you couldn't, it'd be very difficult to take a paper towel or something and get into all those crooks and crannies.
And I'm sure some diligent gardeners may, but that would be tedious. So I just aerosolize it.
And or could you consider putting it in it and then bringing it out? You think it's easier just to spray it?
I like my trusty spray bottle
and really fine, and you felt like you got it all the places that you needed to.
Very generously spray down the top and the bottom of the leaves until it's dripping.
Oh, until it's dripping.
Let it set, and then maybe wipe it, briskly. Yeah. But that's typically does the trick.
And what proportion did you use?
1 part rubbing alcohol, 4 parts water in a spray bottle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boy. Well, it's worth the trouble for that.
I agree.
It truly, truly is. And then, so this is an inside in the wintertime.
Yes, it would not do in our winters, so I have to bring it in.
That's not much trouble.
No, not much at all. So
yeah. And I think you found a lovely container for it.
Thank you.
It looks kind of like the ocean and the water and the sky.
I do. I tend to go for cobalt blue and those like striking blue colors with ceramics. But,
that makes it fun. Well, here's somebody who is in a container that makes it look like maybe he has to go in the ground sometime when he's not. I mean, at the farm, at the plantation, y'all have him in the ground so he can just be beautiful. And then overwinter him in the pot?
That's exactly right. So similar to the Bromeliad method I was describing, these pothos and philodendrons, and we have various varieties. Some are like a lemony citrus color, some are variegated, so lots of fun patterns on those. The pot, again, gets sunk down into the flower bed, but it's really just a fake out or an optical illusion, because we can pluck them right back out and
put them where you overwinter them.
Yeah.
So. And what kind of temperatures does he need? Is he a little more hardy than some of the others, or do you just kind of treat them all the same?
We typically treat them the same, just from a
ease,
a utility standpoint. But typically, a lot of tropicals and tender houseplants like this will start to show signs of distress or discoloration around 55 degrees Fahrenheit.
Ooh.
They might start
that's
model.
That's
I've pushed
cold.
it. I've definitely pushed it, and you'll know, because they'll respond very quickly, or the tissues will immediately, weaken overnight and start flagging.
So if you had this outside, would it grow on a trellis?
I think you could definitely trellis it. It would probably kind of start attaching with these adventitious roots.
Oh, of course.
I think
that'd make it harder to put him back in the. Or you'd have to just snip him and put him back in.
I'm a big fan of taking cuttings and passing them along to friends, just to cut and carry on type
of this
plant.
Is easy to root?
Very, yes. Yeah, so a lot of our pothos and phillies, you can put in a little tubule of water in your kitchen window, and within a week or two, you'll see a little baby root. So,
isn't that fun?
Yeah.
It's pretty, I like it. Yeah.
Thank you, me too.
Well, let's see if we can look at this. Very unusual. I guess it's a fern that you've got over here?
It is. So I've become familiar with this family of ferns called the ribbon fern.
Ribbon fern?
Yes, and this particular one is silver ribbon fern.
And it does have a very definite silver cast to the leaves, the upper surface of the leaves.
I think it looks very prehistoric or Jurassic. It's got, those characteristic spores on the backside of the leaf. I don't know if I can zoom in there, but just a really fun, finely textured fern, and to reiterate the diversity that there are with ferns and foliage plants.
Yeah, and also just the fact that this variation in color on it just kind of immediately captures your interest.
Very much. Yeah. So we plant this in and amongst other, more broadleaf things, and aeroids.
And it fills. Oh, what a beautiful filler, and a contrast, and again, green and texture are items in their own right. It's not always just about color and blossoms.
Exactly right.
He's
I
lovely.
Agree.
Is he pretty easy to care for?
Very, and I will say I've accidentally, more or less, let it dry down, and it can tolerate some neglect and drought. Whereas when you think of ferns,
boy, you gotta be careful. Yeah,
lush and needy, water needs and things like that. But silver ribbon has been a little bit more durable and drought tolerant.
So. Whom do you plant it amongst?
So we pair this in our seasonal tropic house with aeroids, things like anthurium with the fabulous waxy inflorescence.
So you have a seasonal tropical house that's even during the year kept the temperature's moderated?
Yeah, so it runs from April 1st to November 1st typically, and then we have to pack it away in the greenhouses, or we can treat everybody and assess everything during the winter time.
Gosh, the director of horticulture is a very diverse job, just like some of these diverse plants we have.
Never a dull day, that is for sure.
Now, I don't know about this. I'm afraid I'm going to get my finger pricked.
Well, it might look a little
intimidating.
That's the word. But yeah, so this is just a little trough, little inexpensive container I picked up at the store.
It's attractive, though.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Certainly.
And when you've got this much material in there, you don't need a lot of taking away from it. I mean, the planter needs to just kind of stand on its own.
That's right. So the plants speak for themselves. This is just an array of really easy succulents. They are tender, however. A lot of these would not survive our fluctuating winter temps. So I bring this inside and just pop it in a south-facing window.
And you said you got a lot of these, you were places where people had some wedding bouquets or decorations, and you just got a little tip-off one, because that's all you have to do really with the succulent, is it?
That's exactly right. So I love this because it's actually pretty meaningful, and these are essentially the progeny or the offspring of leaf cuttings from some floral work, because succulents were kind of a trend for several years there in wedding work, and so I would just stick the cutting, and pretty successful.
Now, but not everything in here is a succulent, so this is fascinating, and it's got these orange little teeth on the edge.
Yes, so that is carnival aloe, and it's just kind of a dwarf little hedgehog-looking aloe with a very spiny, rough texture.
But it's not hard. I mean, it does not go prick you or anything like that.
Nothing dangerous. It just has kind of like a serrated look to it.
But even the leaf itself is bumpy.
Yes, yeah, kind of reptilian almost.
Yeah, I would say so.
And I tried to stick my cutting so that I had a variety of green,
I like this,
silver.
This kind of bluish green one next to it. I think that's quite attractive.
Thank
a nice
you.
pairing there.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to this. Not too bad.
Not too bad.
I don't think I'd want them to get my hemoglobin that way, but anyway.
Yes, not the most friendly. I'm assuming this is some sort of barrel cactus or mammillaria. I'm not sure, but I still have an appreciation for cacti because they are so unusual and fascinating.
Well, and the hairs or the spines or leaves or whatever they are, they have their own color, and that just adds a lot more interest to it, don't you think?
That's right.
Yeah.
And I also was reading, because I never thought much about it, but apparently when a succulent has lots of hairs or spines, it helps retain moisture and deflect damaging rays and things like that. So it's not just for show. So
it's almost like sunscreen.
Exactly, yeah. So it's a little bit more of a, I guess, a more purposeful adaptation there, besides just looking cool.
And then this is just, I don't know what it is about it, but it just seems so dainty and lovely somehow.
Haworthia is a very diverse genus. There are some that almost look black or purple. There's, ones that look almost like sea creatures. So a completely diverse group of
Gosh.
plants. Yeah.
Well, Katie, I know that people love to see the traditional things that y'all have, especially in the areas where the brides come and have their lovely formal ceremonies, but also just to see that y'all are always looking for different things to catch people's interest in wherever they happen to be wandering around, and that you came and showed some of them us today. Thanks so very much.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you for having me and my plants.